Edited. Tell the truth and shame the devil. I love being black. All right, all right, all right. We're here tonight. Late night tonight. I think I got about an hour left in me before I can hit the sack. I appreciate you guys for tuning in. This is definitely live, uncut, unedited. This is where we tell the truth and shame the devil. Come on in, people. Come on in. Come on in. Tell the truth and what? And shame the devil. And I love being black. I love that. I love being black. Tell the truth and shame the devil. All right, people. Good evening, good evening, good evening, good evening. Good evening, good evening, good evening. This is the Crime Chase. I'm live, uncut, and unedited. I'm glad to be with you tonight. Tell you good evening. Hey, Kenny, Nicole, Peggy, how y'all doing? Tamara, I think I'm pronouncing. I don't know if I get her name right. What's going on, brother? Is it M Jal? I don't know how to pronounce. Share this. Make sure you hit that like button. I need you guys to hit that like button. It's going down tonight. We're gonna do a little bit talking about domestic violence. I'm telling you, which is real. Last time we just touched a little bit, but we're gonna touch it deep tonight. We're gonna show a video tonight. This is live, uncut, unedited. Y'all come on in. Make sure you like the video. Like the video. Like the video. When you come in, hit the like button. That's all you have to do. Hit the like button. Or tag someone. One of the two. Mika Jeffries, what's up, sis? I see you, I see you, I see you. Brother Nathan, what's going on, bro? Tanya B, she heavenly. Hey, what's up, Tanya? Belisa Lewis, good evening, Martin and all. Y'all do me a favor, hit that like button. Hit that like button. Hit that like button. That's all I need y'all to do. Hit that like button. Hit that like button. And we good. Hit that like button and we good, people. Hit that like button and we good. This is live on Cut and Edit. Come on in, come on in. Tono. All right. Like button, people. Like button. Hit that 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 like button. We ain't got no shares, but 2 shares. All right. Hit that like button. All right. Let's hit it. Live uncut. Unedited. Oh, good. Come on in. We got a video to show tonight. Keep you guys entertained. All right. How many of y'all been in a domestic violence relationship? Y'all ain't got whooped. Men ain't got whooped. Verbal abuse. All right. Come on in. That's okay. It's all good, people. It's all good. It's all good. Come on in, people. Come on in. 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 Y'all coming in slow tonight. Y'all let them people know I'm on live. I don't even think I text anybody. Let them know I was on live. Live, uncut, unedited. Come on in, people. Come on in. Come on in. Tell the truth and shame the devil. I love being black. Man, I can say that. I love being black. I can say that. No, I can say that, boy. I love it. I tell you, when black folks start saying they love themselves, everybody all of a sudden you a bad person. You're not bad when you out here killing each other. You're not bad when you out here selling dope. You're not bad out here when you snatching and grabbing. But when you say I love
I
you,
love being
all of a sudden
black.
call you a threat or something. They don't like nobody loving on it, especially black folk. They can't get no money when we start loving on each other. Sydney, Washington, what's going on? All right. Anna Walker, what's going on? I see you. I dated a woman that was verbally abusive. And every word that came out of her mouth was a cuss word, and that was a turn off to me. It should be turned off to anybody. What's it? Mari Lola. I think I pronounced it right. We're going to get on with this video real quick. I ain't going to be waiting on these people. They just had to come in. I'm going to be on here all night. I'm not going to be on here all night. That ain't what I want with this video. I gotta take yeah, it's a good thing, people. Mm. All right, we ready to rock and roll. All right, we're gonna get started. We ain't waiting on nobody. Who ain't here, that's not here.
Here. We all know that Valentine's Day and Super Bowl Sunday just passed, and on those days specifically, domestic violence is at an all-time high. So we just wanted to bring some awareness to domestic violence.
Abuse can happen to anyone, no matter what age, race, gender, or social class you are. Despite what you may have heard, it does not only happen to women. Crossing boundaries in any way is not fair.
Domestic violence is a pattern and behavior of power and control to harm a person. It does not always include physicality. Domestic violence can be subtle and ongoing, and loud and obvious. There is also a more intense form of domestic violence, like IPV.
Intimate partner violence, also known as IPV, is abuse or aggression that occurs in a romantic relationship. Now, intimate partner can refer to a current or former spouse, and it also refers to other dating partners. So, IPV has 4 known components of abuse: psychological, physical, sexual, and stalking.
IPV is connected to other forms of violence and is related to serious health issues and economic consequences. Many of our loved ones are experiencing IPV, but since we don't know what it is, we don't know how to identify it. So we're going to give you some insight on different patterns that we've noticed that leads up to IPV.
The tension building phase events might include fighting over jobs, money, kids, or other circumstances, and that's where verbal abuse usually begins. Finally, tension peaks and unfortunately leads to physical abuse.
Acute battering is the second stage. In this phase, the abuses seem extremely unpredictable and out of control.
The last phase is often referred to as the honeymoon period. In the honeymoon period, abusers are calm, loving, and always apologizing, promising their partners that they'll never do it again. Partners often feel guilty about leaving abusers. They often hope that the abuser will change.
Then your partner may even try to trick you into believing that something never happened. I never said this, or I never did this.
Which leads us to isolation. When your partner starts isolating you from family and friends, who's all going to be there? Who are you going to be with? And then even starts talking about you to those family and friends.
Then come threats to family, friends, and even children.
Eventually, these phases lead up to violence. In most domestic violence cases, it takes a survivor an average attempts of 7 tries to leave their abusers. In those 7 tries, the risk of homicide increases.
We know this is a tough topic, and supporting those you love is probably easier said than done, but we still encourage you to do so. So here are a few tips on how. First, always be non-judgmental and supportive of their feelings. Or you can always just call 311 and ask for the DV hotline for intake.
Thanks for watching. Like, share, and comment to help a friend or someone you may know. Teamwork Inglewood is out.
All right, people, we're going to play it again. I like that.
Hi everyone, Teamwork Inglewood here. We all know that Valentine's Day and Super Bowl Sunday just passed, and on those days specifically, domestic violence is at an all-time high. So we just wanted to bring some awareness to domestic violence.
Abuse can happen to anyone, no matter what age, race, gender, or social class you are. Despite what you may have heard, it does not only happen to women. Crossing boundaries in any way is not fair.
Domestic violence is a pattern and behavior of power and control to harm a person. It does not always include physicality. Domestic violence can be subtle and ongoing and loud and obvious. There is also a more intense form of domestic violence, like IPV.
Intimate partner violence, also known as IPV, is abuse or aggression that occurs in a romantic relationship. Now, intimate partner can refer to a current or former spouse, and it also refers to other dating partners. So, IPV has 4 known components of abuse: psychological, physical, sexual, and stalking.
IPV is connected to other forms of violence and is related to serious health issues and economic consequences. Many of our loved ones are experiencing IPV, but since we don't know what it is, we don't know how to identify it.
So we're going to give you some insight on different patterns that we've noticed that leads up to IPV.
The tension building phase events might include fighting over jobs, money, kids, or other circumstances, and that's where verbal abuse usually begins. Finally, tension peaks and unfortunately leads to physical abuse.
Acute battering is the second stage. In this phase, the abuser seems extremely unpredictable and out of control.
The last phase is often referred to as the honeymoon period. In the honeymoon period, abusers are calm, loving, and always apologizing, promising their partners that they'll never do it again. Partners often feel guilty about leaving abusers. They often hope that the abuser will change.
Then your partner may even try to trick you into believing that something never happened. I never said this, or I never did this.
Which leads us to isolation. When your partner starts isolating you from family and friends, who's all going to be there? Who are you going to be with? And then even starts talking about you to those family and friends.
Then come threats to family, friends, and even children.
Eventually, these phases lead up to violence. In most domestic violence cases, it takes a survivor an average attempts of 7 tries to leave their abusers. In those 7 tries, the risk of homicide increases.
We know this is a tough topic, and supporting those you love is probably easier said than done, but we still encourage you to do so. So here are a few tips on how. First, always be non-judgmental and supportive of their feelings. Or you can always just call 311 and ask for the DV hotline for intake.
Thanks for watching. Like, share, and comment to help a friend or someone you may know. Teamwork Inglewood is out.
All right, people. All right. We'll come back to it. Um, that was deep. That was deep. They broke it down. They broke it down. They broke it down. What y'all had to say in these comments? Let's see. Half of my life. All right. Come on. Let's see. I love being black. That's right. Come on, call and talk about it. Let me put that number up here so you can get it. Call in number 872-299-0808 or 872-297-6389. That's the call-in number. Here it is again. Call-in number 872-299-0808 or 872-297-6389. That's right, call-in numbers. We got a caller. Plug that number at the top. Y'all see that number, the call-in numbers? We got a caller. What's up, Roosevelt?
Ayana Walker.
Hey, how you
Has
doing?
joined.
Come on, young
Hello.
lady. Hey, how you doing?
I'm all right. How about yourself?
All right, I'm ready to hear what happened. You say you're going to share some stuff with us, huh?
Yeah. So, when I say half my life, literally, it has been from when I was a child, just in the home, domestic violence. But the worst was the boyfriends, because what people don't understand is when you headed in the home, the first thing you go looking for is love. And that's basically what I was doing for a long time, was looking for love. And I wind up finding the wrong type of love, thinking by the person hitting on me that it was okay. It took me to wake up and realize that, okay, this is not right. Because when I first met the person, he stalked me. I thought it was cute, but it wasn't cute. And then it went from stalking to him trying to change who I was. Then it went from there to, okay, now he trying to use religion to basically get me to do what he want me to do. And then it went from there to him just cheating on me for no reason.
Can I ask you?
Like, I used to see this man.
Go ahead.
Yes,
How old are you?
I am 41 now.
Okay. And the man, how old was he over you?
At the this happened when I was in my late 20s, and at the time, he was 8 years older than me.
Okay. Go ahead. Continue to talk. Okay. I just wanted to know. Okay.
So he stalked me. I was a bartender in a school. I was a student, and he used my family. I didn't even know the man was stalking me. So he used my family to get to me. And because I'm a bartender, as a bartender, you don't want to talk to everybody because you don't know who you're talking to. So because of where I lived at, I knew only people knew me by my nickname. If you knew me by my first name, it's because you know me or you know somebody that actually know me. So one day he kept asking me, let me get your name and your number. I'm like, no, I don't want that. And then I just gave in. I was like, okay, if you could find out what my real name is, I'll give you my number. Didn't know the whole time he had been stalking me. He found out that I was coming to the bar with my cousins. They used to be in a crowd while I bartender because they used to be there until I leave so we could all go home together. And so he used my cousin to get to me. And my cousin didn't even realize what was going on because after he used her, he asked her, well, I wasn't really trying to talk to you. I was trying to talk to the other girl. She asked him, and she told him my real name. She told him where I lived and everything. He just so happened to show up at my house, and I'm looking like, okay, this is weird. But I thought it was cute. I'm like, at my house.
Oh my God. Okay.
And me being just naive, dumb as a kid, because I still had a young mentality. Even though I was in my 20s, I still had a teen mentality. So when he got to my house and we talked for a while and this, that, and the other, and over the amount of weeks or whatever, we got closer or whatever, and my cousin wound up telling me how he found out where I lived at because she told me that she told him that he used her to get to me and this, that, and the other. I'm like, okay, that was cute. But didn't realize at the moment those were all red flags that he was going through the extreme to get to me. And then finally it went to the point that at that time I used to smoke weed. So he used to be like, oh, you can't smoke weed no more. And I'm thinking like, okay, this is what I do. You met me, this is what I did. So I continue to do what I do. Then you can't work at the bar no more. When you met me, this is what I was doing. And it got to the point that he accused me of messing with everybody at the bar. He accused me of everything up under the sun. And it got to the point that he just used to hit me for no reason. If the first time he hit me, he apologized. And then I was like, okay. But I still was looking at him crazy, like, okay, why is he doing this to me? But I'm still thinking the little things that he do was cute because after he did it, he bought me flowers. He apologized. He treated me real nice. But that was his manipulative ways to keep me near him. Then it got so bad to the point he had me start thinking of suicide and had me isolating myself from my family because he made me feel like he was the only one that cared for me, especially when he seen the things that I was going through with my family alone. He used me, basically. He used my feelings and he manipulated my mind. And he used to do little things like calling me dumb, stupid, and this, that, and the other. And then he'd go back to apologize. Then he made it seem like his family liked me and this, that, and the other the whole time. They knew this man was abusive because when I started slowly finding out little things about him, the people in the same town knew about him already. And instead of someone, especially the women, coming at me, telling me like, he this, that, and the other, they just watch. And then they slowly started calling my phone, but they never really told me about him. Like, it was just little things. And it got to the point that this man, if I go somewhere, he had a problem with it. If I was at my friend's house down the street, he had a problem with it. If I even talked to my family, he had a problem with it. So he used to just beat me for no reason. Like literally, I could be laying in the bed and I could see him walking past every one of my windows because I stayed on the lower level. And I see him and he'll come in my house like, what you been doing? You been fucking somebody? And I'm like, wait a minute. Don't you see I'm just laying here? And he'll literally put his fingers up inside of me talking about it's wet. And I used to be like, dude, you just put your fingers in me. Come on. Like, use your brain for a second. If you put your fingers in a female, your finger is supposed to come out dry or is it going to come out wet? I don't understand that. So he manipulated my mind and had me thinking he was just this good person. Why all the time he just beating the hell out of me. But it took for me to wake up one day where I just got tired.
Can I ask you a question?
This man almost.
I want to ask you a question. How long was you in this relationship? 2 years, 1 year, 6 months?
2 years.
2 years.
It wasn't even a whole 2 years. It was like a year and like 8 months.
Did you have children by him? Any kids by him or anything?
No.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And I think it was by the grace of God that I didn't have kids because he tried to make me have kids by him. But I really believe it was the grace of God to keep me from having kids. It was like he shut up my womb because I did not get pregnant by this man not one time. The more he tried, I just never got pregnant by him.
I want to ask you a question. Now, how did you escape from this particular relationship? What did you do? What was the transformation, your way out? That's what I want to know.
The crazy part about it, the way out was I fought back. And the fighting back caused me to stab this man 8 times in the chest, 1 time in the back, and 1 time in the hand. And then after I did it, when we both was going to court now, because I had already put order protection out on this man, I had already just went above and beyond to get away from him. So when I wind up signing up for the National Guards and I told them what was going on, and they told me, don't worry about it, this, that, and the other. And once they got me into court and everything, all I did was flip states on him because he literally violated the order of protection, because I used to call the police every time he violated the order of protection, because the order, they always tell you, oh, just get an order of protection down on somebody. That's just a piece of paper that what are you going to do? Because literally, this man was stalking me even after I was trying to leave him. He was pulling guns out on me and my cousin when I tried to leave him. When I finally just got completely away from him, it was after, like I said, I signed up for the National Guard. I flipped states on him. But in the midst of that, this man almost choked me to death. It took my best friend to be there. That she got in her car, she called the police, and they came in and caught him choking. And that's how he went to jail, and I flipped states on him for me to put him away for 2 years, because that's as long as they could keep him.
Now, can I ask you a personal question? Do that?
Mm-hmm.
Do you have memories of that? And did you get some counseling? Did you get some help after all this abuse?
Yes, I still get counseling to this day. At 41 years old, I still get counseling because I don't trust nobody. That I have a whole different level of trust now. I don't trust nobody. When I see that you're going to do something to me or think you're going to do something to me, I will act first before anything.
Wow. Wow. That's are you married now? You have children?
I'm married with 2 kids now.
Okay. So how you get along with your husband? Does something he don't trigger you? Your husband?
He triggered me sometimes, but he also noticed when he triggered me as well. And he'd be like, I'm just going to leave you alone because I can see you don't want to be bothered right now. Because, like, sometimes I kind of get upset and I kind of freak out. And it's like when we first got together, he had to learn me because it was times he had to call my dad like, she just tried to stab me. And he was like, what did you do to her? He was like, I was talking to her and she got mad and told me to leave her alone. And I kept talking to her and she tried to stab me. He said, when she say leave her alone, leave her alone. Let her be and let her calm down. And that's why I knew I had to get counseling, because if I felt like you was going to hit me or run up on me, I'm going to do something to you first, because I got to the point where you're not going to hurt me. My guards went up so quick, but when people get loud with me or anything, well, it's not now, but in the beginning when I first got out of it, I felt like I'm going to hurt you before you get the chance to hurt me.
Okay, now what about when you was in the National Guards? I know they was hollering and screaming at you. How did you react with that?
Out. And the crazy part about it is once they got me off, I wind up not even going.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
That was the crazy part. And I know it was wrong, but I felt like I was trying to, because so when they reason why I signed up for the National Guard is because one of the times when they came into my household while we was fighting, I was on top of him and hitting him. And they had already found out I had stabbed him and everything. So they tried to get me for attempt murder. And I felt like to fight back, I'm fighting an attempt murder case for just fighting this man back. So I did what I thought was best. My family bonded me out, and I thought that, okay, if I signed up for the National Guards, I'll go to the National Guards. But once they got me off, I was scared to go to the National Guard, so I just didn't. I moved away, so couldn't nobody find me.
Okay, I gotta ask you like a somewhat a stupid question. Um, have you ever ran into this guy that was your abuser again, or seen him on social media or something like that?
I ran into him one time because my family still live in the town where he go, because his family still live in the town.
Okay.
And I was in the car with my now husband. He was my boyfriend then, and I had already told him about it. And when I saw him, I just pulled off real fast. He was like, what is wrong with you? I waited till I was so far away that he couldn't find me. And I told him, was like, why did you react like that? Like, I'm in the car. Do you think I'm just going to let him run up and beat on you? And I was like, no, but I didn't want him to try, because he had already been telling people that he was going to do this and that to me. So I wanted to get away. When I saw him, because that was the very first time I saw him from the last time I saw him when I put him in jail.
Mm. So
And even though it had been like a 4-year gap, I was still, at that moment, I was still scared of him. He still put fear in me.
mm. So do you consider yourself as becoming an abuser by stabbing him, by defending
No,
yourself? Okay. Okay.
no, because I felt like that was defense. I
Mm.
didn't see my way out, because no matter how much I did, like I used to change my locks. I don't know how this man used to still get in my house. Like that stuff used to scare me. So I felt like that was the only way out. Because like I said, I had got so bad to the point I even tried to take myself out, like, because I was trying my best to get away from him.
Mm.
And when I tried to take myself out, the doctors, when they released me to him. And because I was scared to tell on him at that time, I kept thinking like, y'all releasing me to the man that I'm trying to get away from.
Mm. So this was about 20 years ago or something? 15, 20 years?
About 15,
Mm.
15.
Wow. So you moved far away from that town, right? He was where he's at, right?
Yeah, I'm like 9 hours away.
Okay, perfect, perfect. Okay, okay. You know that guy, he probably following you on social media. You don't even have a clue. Yeah.
Well, my last name changed, so he can't follow me on social media because he don't know my last name.
Well, he know your cousin. You know her last name, and they go different pages. I don't mean to scare you, but you got creeps out here that do that. So now, let me ask you a question real quick. What would you tell any young lady that's listening to you right now that heard your story? What advice would you give them?
I don't care what they say. The first time they hit you, you need to make up your mind and leave, because once the person hits you, most likely they're going to hit you a second time, and they're going to hit you a third time, and then it's going to become a routine. Leave. because you got to love yourself first before anything. I don't care how much you think you love this person. A person that loves you don't show love through hitting you. I'm sorry, they just don't.
Mm. Okay. Another quick question. Did you see the video that I put up when I was listening?
Yes.
What would you? How much of that was it accurate or was it okay? Or what's your thoughts about that video? Did it explain some things?
It was accurate. It was accurate because I was the one with that just one person, I experienced the physical, the emotional, the physical, emotional, and verbal abuse, psychological abuse. I had all that in one person,
Mm.
and that alone will take you. If your mind is not willing to go through that, it'll take you farther than you want to go.
Mm.
And people don't understand. Not only would you not try to kill that person, you, like I said, you'll even try to kill yourself just to get out the situation, especially if you don't have a support system to help you.
Okay. Now, another question. When who did you reach out outside the National Guard to help you?
My friend, my best friend, she the one that called the police because I had told her about it. And I told another one of my best friends about it. She had already told me she didn't like him when she first met him. She told me he was manipulative. And I'm being me in so-called love. No, you just got to get to know him. But that wasn't the truth. He was manipulative. And she saw right through him when she met him. I didn't. It took me a while to see his ways, to understand, okay, he trying to use me, he trying to manipulate my mind, he want me to do exactly what he want me to do, and that's what happened. I wind up being isolated from my family. I wind up not even from friends altogether. It came to the point that I didn't even go outside because I felt like even if I went outside, he was going to find a reason to hit me. So I stayed in the house, and it got to the point that even when I stayed in the house, he found a reason to hit.
Hmm. Uh, can you tell me a little bit of history about his past or something? Do he have a past of being abused, and that's why he was an abuser? Do you know anything about his past or something? Did he ever discuss with you?
I don't know if he had a past of being abused because when I met his mom, she told me he dealt with mental illness. I found out when the things that I had asked him, he had lied to me about. It was scars that he had on his arms and stuff. I used to be like, "What happened to your arms?" He was like, he had a car crash and he went through the windshield. But the reality was he was suicidal and he was in multiple mental hospitals. But I didn't know that because she didn't go that deep with me. She just told me he used to just cut himself. But when he told me he went through a windshield. Then I started putting everything together and the way he was treating his mom and the way he treated his family, that it is something wrong with him. And then he had already admitted to me towards the end of the relationship, when I kept saying, "Are you bipolar or something?" He was like, "No, I got dual personality." That right there was like, okay, I'm dealing with somebody that I can't even handle, even if I wanted to.
Was he on medicine? Was he a drinker?
No, he was a drinker, and I found out later on that he was drugging too. I knew he smoked weed with me, but I found out he did hard drugs.
Such as what?
He used to lace his weed with
Oh yeah.
coke.
Oh yeah, he's a lacer. Okay. And okay. Did he you guys had lived together too as well, right?
Yeah, he lived with me.
Oh, but they want you to go outside, huh?
Hmm.
Hmm. Wow, that's terrible. That's terrible. So um this guy did all this to you. He did serve 2 years in jail, right?
Yeah, he served 2 years. And then because I knew some of his history, I told him about another state that he was wanted in, and they looked that up. And he did an extra year in the state that he was wanted in.
Oh, okay. How did you know about that? Unless he told you, right?
He told me
Okay. So what was he wanted for the other state?
robbery.
Oh yeah, so he had a criminal background too then. Okay.
Mhm.
Okay. Wow. So he often threaten you, put his hand on you. He ever black your eye, knock your teeth out, and stuff like that. Pull your hair out. He was that.
My bottom tooth he knocked out. I wind up getting an implant from it. He had bit me a few times where he like bit my pinky nail off and he bit my leg. It healed up, but you could see where the bite mark is at.
Ooh, God, I'm getting the chills now. Man, I can imagine somebody doing it to my daughter. I don't know. I probably, man, it wouldn't be on earth long. Mm-mm. So you didn't, your family, you had no family support, none of your immediate family.
They didn't know right off. It took when they finally found out. It took for my cousin one day. My eye, it wasn't black, but he had punctured my vein in my eye and left a blood clot.
Mm.
And my cousin, I never forget it. We was having a family event in my aunt's house, and my cousin kept staring at me, and I kept looking at my cousin like, "Cuz, why you looking at me like that?" He's like, "What happened to your eye?" So I just came up with a story. I got poked in the eye, and he just kept looking at me. And before the night was open, he said, "You didn't get poked in the eye. Somebody choked you and bust a vein vessel in your eye." And I looked at him like, "Cuz, what are you talking about?" He said, "I know somebody bust a vein vessel in your eye because I did it to a girl before. So I know what it looks like."
Mm.
And I looked and tears just started dropping from my eyes. And then after my family, like, "Are you getting beat on?" And I ain't say nothing. And they like, "Yep, she getting beat on. She just gonna go through it and ain't gonna tell none of us." And I'll never forget that day because that was the day when my aunt took me home. And while I was in the house, he came in and he was threatening me and stuff. My aunt had never left my backyard where she dropped me off because I had a parking lot in my backyard. And while he in the house threatening me and stuff, putting a gun to my head, my aunt called, the same one that was in the backyard that I didn't even know was still there. And she called was to speak with me. And he was like, "Oh, she in the shower," but I was sitting right there. So I said, "No, I'm not." And before I knew it, somebody was knocking on my back door. So he went to the back door. It was my cousin. When my cousin came in, when he opened up the door, I just started packing up a few items and I was leaving. I didn't even tell him what I was leaving for. I just left and I closed the door behind me and I got in the car with my auntie. She said, "I knew something was wrong because when you went in the house, I just felt unsettled. I couldn't leave. I just sat right here since I dropped you off. I never left." And I'm glad she didn't because she could have been saving my life because he had a gun to my head that night.
Mm. Wow. So from that day on, you never went back.
I went back to my house, but I kept getting my locks changed. And whatever reason, he had some keys that would unlock my door.
Wow.
Because the first night that he came in, I'm looking like, wait a minute, I just got my locks changed today. How he get in my house? So I ain't say nothing to him. I ain't tell him because I ain't want to fight. I just kept looking like, how this man get in my house? So the next day, I had maintenance come and change my locks again. And when they changed my locks again, the next night he was right back in there. And I'm like, wait a minute. How is he getting in my house?
Was he climbing through the window
So
or
I
something? Go ahead.
nope, I took one of the keys. So he had multiple keys that looked like my keys. I took one of the keys off his keychain and I used that key to go into one of my friend's house and it worked. So however he got it, he had a master key to the whole complex area because all of us had a same key that looked alike, but it was shaped different. But he had a master key that went to everybody's lock.
Hmm.
And when I told her, I'm like, this man got a master key. So it don't matter how many times I locked my door. She was like, that's how you got in my house? I was like, yes, I stole the key off his keychain and I came to your house to unlock your door to see if it worked.
Hmm. This guy, he was dangerous. Have he ever shot at you before?
hmm No, he tried. He put a gun to my head multiple times, but every time he did it, something else intervened. The first time my auntie came and intervened. The second time, a neighbor saw him and she called the police. So by the time the police came around, he hurried up and ran off, and they went looking for him and couldn't find him. So he never got the chance to do that. But he always pulled the gun out on me.
Wow, he kept a gun. So he's violently dangerous. Did you ever see him stand up to a
Hmm.
man before?
Nope. Because when I brought my boy cousins there to put them out my house, he ain't say nothing back. He just left with no problem. When
Mm,
they was going off ready to fight him and everything, he left with no problem. But when it came to me and my girl cousins, he was ready to fight us.
mm. Oh, wow. Now, he called you all types of names too, didn't he?
Yep.
Oh, wow. Don't
He
say.
got to the point that he even accused me of messing with his own cousin. Like I never forget, we was at one of the, I think it was like Thanksgiving dinner or something. And me and his cousin had got into it because he pushed me and I said something to him and he called me out my name. So him and his cousin got into it because he called me out my name. But when we got to my house, he cursed me out and said the reason why his cousin called me out my name because I was fucking him. He told me, so you ain't nothing but a little bitch. You fucking everybody and this, that, and the other. And I'm like, wait a minute. I ain't doing none of that stuff. I barely want you touching me. Why would I want somebody else touching me?
Mm, mm. Can I ask you a question? I'm gonna get a little personal. Now, I know somebody was in a relationship similar to you, and it's just like it was like they were stuck. They couldn't get out. They couldn't get out. I don't know if they was in love. I don't know what they thought that he was crazy about. I mean, some women like that aggression. And I hate to say it. They like that great. They think that's cute. If I've met women and they say, well, you better get away from me because my boyfriend crazy. I'm like, boyfriend crazy. I'm just speaking to you, but I've heard them say that. So I mean, super aggression.
In the beginning,
Go ahead.
I thought it was cute, but as time went on, it was not cute anymore.
Mm. Hmm. Okay. Wow. So how many times did you made up in your mind that you was gonna leave, but you just stayed? You was afraid to leave, or you just stayed. You was confused. You didn't know what you wanted to stay. You went back to him. After he apologized. I mean, what
For
did?
the first year, it took him about 3 months before he hit me for the first time. And then after that, the first year I stayed with him. Then the beating started getting worse. And after that, I was trying to find an escape out, but I couldn't find an escape out. Then I thought, well, maybe it's just because we here. And I followed him down south with his family,
Hmm,
and he made it worse. It got to the point that even his mama and aunt made sure I got back home because he had beat me so bad there that they made sure I got back home because they said he was going to kill me if I stayed there.
hmm,
And from that point, I knew that I have to leave him alone.
hmm. Wow. Ooh, that's terrible. And so, what year did you start getting counseling? You wait till a long time before you start getting counseling after the breakup.
I started getting, so our official breakup um, was in 2008. He went to jail towards the end of 2008. And I started getting counseling around, it was a couple years. It took my job to force me into anger management for me to get counseling.
Hmm,
So I didn't get counseling until 2012.
hmm, okay. You say you're present right now, still getting counseling, right?
Yep.
Okay. Wow. So, do you think you'll be healed from this, or just a slow process?
I think I'm healed from it, but I continue to get counseling because for some reason, I continue to go through different types of trauma. Because the last time I was actually on your show, it was from my mom's death.
Okay.
So I have been continuing to have different types of trauma in my life. that causes me to stay into counseling.
Okay. Okay. Do your husband go to counseling with you?
When we go, because I go to two different types of counseling. I go through counseling through an actual psychiatrist type counseling, and then I go through counseling through my church.
Okay.
And he go through counseling with me through my church.
Okay. Cool. Do you find yourself yelling and screaming at the kids and cussing at the kids?
I try not to curse at them. I'm not gonna lie. It be times where they test me,
Okay.
but I do yell at them, especially when I have a pet peeve about anybody lying to me. Don't lie to me. And I do yell at my kids when they lie to me because I think that's a pet peeve. And I always tell them, tell the truth, shame the devil. When they lie at me, I get mad.
Tell the truth and shame the devil. What about your husband? You cuss him out?
When I'm really mad, yes, I do.
Oh, okay.
But I don't put my hands on nobody. I try my best to keep my hands to myself. But I always warn before I know I'm getting too mad. I be like, just leave me alone. Just leave me alone. Let me calm down.
Okay.
Because I know when I'm getting mad because I get this fast rate pace in my heart rate where I know I call it, okay, it's time to calm down before you get too mad.
Ooh, you've been through some stuff in your lifetime. Wow. Ooh. That is crazy. So are you always this open to talk about it, or it just happened you felt impressed to do it today?
No, I talk about it all the time. I talk about it because I don't want nobody to ever go through what I went through. Because what I went through, and I ain't even told you half the story. I told you the major point, but it was way more to the story.
Oh, I can believe
and
it.
I'd rather let people know ahead of time before they get too far deep in it. Because if you're not mentally strong, it will take you through some things.
Okay, what are some of the red flags before the abuser even put their hands on you? Some of the red flags.
Some of the red flags I noticed is him trying to change you. When they met you, you was one way, and they trying to, well, maybe you should do this. And I can see if they doing it for the benefit of you, but if they trying to change you for the benefit of them, that's a red flag. When they always being sneaky about little things and you notice the sneakiness, that's a red flag. When you can't go around a family right away, especially if you're trying to build a relationship with them, I feel like that's a red flag. It might not be a red flag to other people, but to me, it's a red flag because it's something you hiding. When they talking to you outside of their body, calling you out your name or trying to shame you about little things, that's a red flag. Those are the major red flags that make you think like, okay, wait a minute. Let me keep an eye on what's going on here.
Okay. Now,
even the part, I didn't even see the stalker as a red flag right off, but from the beginning he was a stalker, and that should have been a major red flag to me. But I thought it was cute, and that was not the right way to think of it. It should have been a red flag.
Well, what year did you find out? Well, in the first year that he was lacing his weed, he didn't ever try to introduce you to lace weed. Because if you smoking weed with him, I know he probably put some of it, sprinkle a little salt on there.
It was an incident where he said he did, and I panicked. And when I panicked, he told me, when you get done panicking, I'm going to, and it's crazy because he said, I'm going to the store. When I come back, I'm beating your ass. And my crazy self, I ain't going to I don't mean to call myself crazy, but myself went to my friend's house, banging on her door. It was like 4 o'clock in the morning, banging on her door for her to let me in. And when I came over there, I used her phone to call the little hotline, telling them, like, he poisoned me. I don't know what to do. I'm so scared, because I was scared. I was panicking because I didn't know what to do. I had never done nothing but weed. That was me. I was a weed. I smoked a lot of weed, and I drank. So if you telling me you're doing drugs, that I'm doing something other than weed, I'm finna freak out because that's not my stilo. I don't do stuff like that. And I started just panicking out of nowhere. And I couldn't calm myself down. And my friend kept saying, just calm down, just calm down. I was like, I can't. I'm going to die. If something going to happen to me, like I was freaking out on her. I called the 800 hotline that she had gave me, and I was freaking out on them, and I finally fell asleep. And when I fell asleep, I was calm when I woke up. And after that, that was when I kind of really stopped smoking weed, because I was a little nervous.
He ain't try to come and roll up with you. Here, hit this, babe. Here, hit this. Yeah.
Because I wasn't. I was too nervous.
So how did y'all pay
anything he had?
How did y'all pay y'all bills if he didn't want you to go outside no more?
Just so happened I worked at a subsidized home, and it's based off my income.
Okay.
So if I don't have no income, I don't have to pay rent.
Okay.
So that's how it was, where in the summertime they pay your electric bill, in the wintertime they pay your gas bill.
Okay.
But it didn't last long enough during that time, because during the time when he told me to quit the bar and this, that, and the other, that was almost the time that the situation was ending anyway. So it didn't last long. And I wind up leaving that whole subdivision anyway. The whole town, not even just the subdivision. Right, I left the whole town.
Good. You ran for your life. Good. Man, this guy, he did a number on you mentally. But thank God you got out with your life. Thank God for that, So, man, anytime you can help a young lady, make sure you pass your information on. Say, listen, young lady, some people stay because they don't want to be homeless, or they're afraid to start all over again, or the person that's taking care of them might be the breadwinner. Sometimes,
and see, that's what they want you to think. They want you to think that you have to rely on them for everything. And that's what he wanted me to think. I had to be smart enough to understand that you was dealing with your own household, own bills before you even met this man. You could do it all over again. And even though I didn't want to leave my own home, because it was my place, and start all over again, I did it anyway. Because I'd rather start all over again than have somebody keep putting their hands on me. Because I got tired of eating bruises. I got tired of hurting every day. I got tired of crying every day. I got tired of just being scared, being on eggshells in my own house. Like, I was scared to just walk around. I was scared to talk on my phone. Like, I got to the point that I let my phone get cut off because I was just scared. I didn't answer my door very often because I didn't want nobody to come to my house. We get to talking, he hear the conversation, and after they leave, we fighting over a conversation. Like, that's how bad it was. I was just scared. And at that point, when you get to that point of scaredness, it's time to go. When you can't be who you are, it's time to go. Because should nobody be able to dictate you that way in that negative environment? I could see if it was a positive environment, but everything was negative. He even tried to use church to try to scare me. Like, I started going to church like it was a person that used to come pick me up for church. And he'll wait till I come home like, oh, you messing with him now? You messing with the deacon of the church? Wait a minute. I'm going to praise God and you talking about messing with somebody? Ain't nobody even thinking about that. It got to that point that I had to realize, like, come on, girl. You better than this. And you smarter than this. I had to figure my own way out. And even though the way that I figured out to get out of there was not the right way, I should have learned to leave when it first started, but I didn't. And I don't suggest nobody to stay in nothing as long as I did, because 2 years was too long. When he first put his hands on me, and I'll never forget my mama when she told me when I was a young girl, when a man first put their hands on you, you leave. I never forget her telling me that. And I didn't follow those instructions, because when they put their hands on you, 9 times out of 10, they're going to continue to put their hands on you, especially if you didn't leave, you didn't fight back, or did nothing happen. So they figure like, oh, she going to accept it.
Did you
let me keep doing it.
Did you grow up with your father in the house?
I grew up with a stepfather
Okay.
that abused me
Oh wow. Verbally?
verbally and physically.
Okay. Wow. Mm. You've been getting beat up all your life, basically. Mm.
Mhm. He was he was actually the last person I had to fight because I was done after that. I couldn't take it no more.
Mm. Wow. Did you tell your mother about it, or what did she say?
Well, my mother at the time I didn't know was dealing with a mental illness. So now that I know, now I understand why she never helped me because mentally she wasn't even there to begin with. She didn't understand the magnitude of somebody else hitting on me. When she first told me about somebody hitting on you, she, I guess she was in her right frame of mind, but my mama had got to a point where she stopped taking her medicine. So I didn't know that she was mentally ill. I knew she was sick, but I didn't know she was that type of sick.
Mm. Okay.
So the things that I went through in my household, I don't even blame her. I don't even blame my stepfather because I can honestly say, as I got older, we made amends. Our relationship got better. I felt like maybe he was just so angry with me because he was more angry with my mother because of the things he shielded me from that I didn't even know was going on.
Oh, okay. Wow. So, did you ever see your stepfather wrong? So you couldn't make no excuse for the wrong that he did to you now.
I'm not making an excuse. What I'm saying is, you know how sometimes when somebody is going through so much with one person that when another person does something, they take it to the extreme. And I think that's what it was. Now I ain't gonna say all the time. Sometimes I felt like the little thing I may do, he took it to the extreme because he was already frustrated with my mother because of the stuff he was dealing with. And now, because I had to deal with it before she passed away, I could understand the stuff he was dealing with because it wasn't no joke.
Yeah, but
And those
regardless.
were the things that he shielded me from.
Okay. Yeah, you sometime,
Because I didn't, like I said, when I was a kid, I didn't know my mother was dealing with a mental illness. I did not know. It
now,
took me
but
till I got
let
older
me
to
just say
find
this.
out.
Let me just say this. All mentally ill people, you have some people that's functional in society because the person is mental ill. That doesn't mean that they're not functional. They don't know what's going on, or they can't make decisions. That's not necessarily the case all the time. So I want you to put that in your mind. It's not the case because you got some people out here that's mentally ill, but they are highly functional. They're smart, they pay their own bills and all that, but they have a mental illness. But they get around, they move around, they're not dangerous, they're not violent to themselves or no one. So when you hear that word mental illness, you don't want to just think that, okay, this person that they mind gone and all that. That may not be the case. I'm quite sure you know some people that's mentally ill. You probably don't know that they're mentally ill, and they're highly functional. You never got into an argument with them. You never felt threatened around them or nothing like that. And some people on medication, you don't know it.
Right.
So you have to be careful. Don't we don't want to call right wrong and wrong right. Make no excuse for bad behavior. Because listen, you was a child, you didn't ask to come. You didn't ask them. And sometimes people do things and say things to children because they know they can get away with it. They know what the situation is. That's people do that. Like that's when they come on men molesting young ladies and stuff like that because they know the mother's on drugs. So you're gonna take advantage of her daughter. And that have happened. It's probably happening right now today. You got men in there
Right.
looking at the daughter, there for the mama, but lusting after the daughter in a sexual desire in a manner way. waiting on a perfect opportunity to strike. It happened. That's a story that I'm quite sure some of you guys that's listening to me heard about. Where this young lady, she took a guy in. He had just got out of prison and, doing things. So her daughter, a teenage daughter, called her at work and said, "Hey, I don't feel comfortable the way, her boyfriend was looking at, her mother's boyfriend was looking at him." And he wound up doing something to it. Then the brother tried to help. He killed both of them. Because he had trying to have sex with the daughter. So you have to be careful, and Satan is real out here. And Satan get inside of people and he act out his ugly desires and demonic desires and stuff like that. But hold on, I got another caller. Mr. Roosevelt. Go ahead, Roosevelt. Thank you for holding on for so long. Thank you for your patience, Mr. Roosevelt.
Oh no, it's fine, man. First of all, good evening to you and your guest.
Yes.
And first of all, I have to say, as a man, let me apologize for all of us men, because I feel that what you went through, I feel that that was something that was incredibly wrong. But I also called tonight because I feel this is an interesting topic. Because some of us men, we went through some of the same things. And I also have like a little confession, because it was like 20-something years ago where I was with a young lady. She was 8 years older than me. And, anytime, whenever things are good, things are very good. But sometimes when things are bad, it's like she called me all up my name. I'd be all kinds of black Creole MFs and all this other kind of stuff, and Creole sons of bees and all this other things and everything. And it's just like, plus anytime we argued, she always wanted to argue and everything with me. But one night, it's like she came over when I told her to stay home. I wasn't even in the mood to fight. And then, she started arguing with me and kind of pushed me a little bit in my back. And I have to confess, I am so sorry. I at that point, I don't know if that I blacked out. I don't know if a demon got a hold of me. I lost it. And before I know it, I was on top of her and my hands was around her neck. And I think I got snapped back into reality when she picked up a phone and smacked me across the head with it. So I ended up going into the kitchen because my landlady had a phone in the kitchen and calling the police. And, they told her something that she had to leave. And the next day she comes back with the order of protection. And I feel that orders of protection are supposed to be used whenever you're in imminent danger. She was not in imminent danger of me at all. I mean, it was just that one and done kind of thing. I'm just so sorry that I lost it. But, in the end, come to find out that she did it because I was, she was mad at me. She had a copy of the order of protection sent to my job. Because, before I started doing pictures, I was actually a nursing assistant. But I lost my job over that and all of that. And to tell you the truth, my life has not been the same for the last 22 years behind all of it. So now whenever I'm with a young lady, and if somebody gets me to the point that I get that angry, I just don't stay with them in no more. Because I had a scenario almost similar to that a few years after that. And what I did is I just completely left her alone. That's what I did because I'm determined not to have to go there like that anymore. And ruin my life all over, just something. Something that was just stupid. But I had just taken so much.
Mr. Roosevelt, in your two inquiries that you talked about tonight, have you ever felt like that you were the victim?
Yeah, now that I think about it, anytime you're being called names and everything like that, you're not calling these people names or something. They get mad at you or something. You stupid some of a, what, and you Creole MF and all this other kind of stuff. And I mean, in the last girl or whatever who I was with and stuff, a couple of years after that, she left me alone for my old pastor's son. And these are the words that she said. She said and stuff, well, I'm going to your church tomorrow and I'm gonna go with your pastor's son. Because he look better than you, can dress better than you, wear better cologne than you. And at the time, he was a virgin, see? And even though he's a virgin, I bet you he can even, well, you get the point. Saying stuff to just like hit below the belt.
Okay, Roosevelt, I need you to hold on for a minute. I'm going to play this video for those that came in late. It's only 2 minutes and something.
Yes, sir.
Let me play this video real quick. It's only 2 minutes, 2.5 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I want to play it. Okay. Hold on. Got my sound.
And on those days specifically, domestic violence. Hi everyone, Teamwork Inglewood here. We all know that Valentine's Day and Super Bowl Sunday just passed, and on those days specifically, domestic violence is at an all-time high. So we just wanted to bring some awareness to domestic violence.
Abuse can happen to anyone, no matter what age, race, gender, or social class you are. Despite what you may have heard, it does not only happen to women. Crossing boundaries in any way is not fair.
Domestic violence is a pattern and behavior of power and control to harm a person. It does not always include physicality. Domestic violence can be subtle and ongoing and loud and obvious. There is also a more intense form of domestic violence, like IPV.
Intimate partner violence, also known as IPV, is abuse or aggression that occurs in a romantic relationship. Now, intimate partner can refer to a current or former spouse, and it also refers to other dating partners. So, IPV has 4 known components of abuse: psychological, physical, sexual, and stalking.
IPV is connected to other forms of violence and is related to serious health issues and economic consequences. Many of our loved ones are experiencing IPV, but since we don't know what it is, we don't know how to identify it.
So we're going to give you some insight on different patterns that we've noticed that leads up to IPV.
The tension building phase events might include fighting over jobs, money, kids, or other circumstances, and that's where verbal abuse usually begins. Finally, tension peaks and unfortunately leads to physical abuse.
Acute battering is the second stage. In this phase, the abuses seem extremely unpredictable and out of control.
The last phase is often referred to as the honeymoon period. In the honeymoon period, abusers are calm, loving, and always apologizing, promising their partners that they'll never do it again. Partners often feel guilty about leaving abusers. They often hope that the abuser will change.
Then your partner may even try to trick you into believing that something never happened. I never said this, or I never did this.
Which leads us to isolation. When your partner starts isolating you from family and friends, who's all going to be there? Who are you going to be with? And then even starts talking about you to those family and friends.
Then come threats to family, friends, and even children.
Eventually, these phases lead up to violence. In most domestic violence cases, it takes a survivor an average attempts of 7 tries to leave their abusers. In those 7 tries, the risk of homicide increases.
We know this is a tough topic, and supporting those you love is probably easier said than done, but we still encourage you to do so. So here are a few tips on how. First, always be non-judgmental and supportive of their feelings. Or you can always just call 311 and ask for the DV hotline for intake.
Thanks for watching. Like, share, and comment to help a friend or someone you may know.
All right, hold on, Sarge. Man, that's deep. My first caller, female caller, they put it out there, didn't he? My dear sister, 6816. Hello. All right. Well, go ahead, Sarge.
Hey, well, this is sound like you got something new hooked up for your call-in line. You hear me okay?
Yeah, I hear you. Yeah.
Hey.
What did it say, Sarge?
I put, huh?
What did it say? What did it say?
Yeah, it asked for a name before you,
Right.
Oh, okay, yeah, security purposes. I understand. Hey, I ain't mad at you because you got some strangers out here. But yesterday I saw this story and I put it out there. This is from Crete Township. And some woman, 47 years old, had some 41-year-old dude trying to break up with her. Oh, she bust a cap in him for that.
Wow.
Doggone show did. I was like, ooh. Well, look at here, look at here.
Wow. Did you see
Yeah.
what did you think of that video?
That's the thing. I just jumped on right now, so I didn't even see the video.
Okay.
That you if you ran a video, I really didn't see the video because I just jumped in, jumped on rather.
Okay. Mr. Roosevelt, hold on. Mr. Roosevelt.
Yes, sir.
What do you think of that video?
Well, I mean, I did, you know, before you cut it on or something, I did like unmute my TV and everything because I couldn't hear it when you had us on the phone, so I could hear it. Yeah, I mean, I feel a whole lot of stuff that was said in that video is real, but yet at the same time, I mean, I noticed certain things there. Maybe I'm wrong for saying it. It's just like a few things maybe I question or something like that, but I feel for the most part, you know, most of that is real for what they say, because they talked about isolation from family and friends. Okay, cool, I get it. But at the same time, and if the young lady's still on the line, because it seems like she knows pretty much about red flags. You know, my whole thing, if I can ask a question, first of all, Martin, if that's okay.
Yes.
You know, what if you're trying to have a relationship with a person, and yet, you know, let's just say I'm gonna make this personal. I know that I'm a good person and everything, but yet the family and friends looking at me like I'm sideways and keep on jumping into crap or whatever. And I don't have any kind of like ill will or evil intentions or something. I mean, wouldn't it be right to isolate your relationship from their family and friends if this is going to happen? Or if you do this for a so-called good reason, are you going to be caught controlling just because you do it? You know, because often when people say this stuff, I just wonder in those kind of cases, when people interfere, you know, what can you do?
I think there's a difference between isolating the person and isolating your relationship. Isolating a person from their family is a total different thing with isolating a person's relationship from their family. Y'all relationship shouldn't be with the family. Whatever you going through, I always thought that never should be part of the family. Your relationship let me say it right. Your relationship shouldn't be part of the family conversation. But telling the person, see my situation, that person was, you can't go to your auntie house, or no, you can't hang with your cousins today. That's isolating the person from their family. Or if a family member come over, or a family member call, or a friend call, the person is automatically saying you're busy and not allowing you to even answer your phone. That's isolating the person. There's two different things with that situation.
Okay,
so because you say you're a good person, you saying you're a good person, and they don't like you for whatever the reason may have been, you isolating the relationship, that's okay. But isolating a person, then that becomes the problem.
That is true.
And also too, like, what if a person who you're dating, let's just say, like, has certain habits and stuff that you do disagree with? Because right now, and Martin knows, because he knows me personally for many years, I just made 50 back in December. And I guess certain things I'm not willing to deal with now, and that includes people who smoke or whatever. And then there's even some young lady in my church who I would love to ask out, but she got that problem. But yet some people say, well, maybe if she was with you or something, maybe there's something she would stop. I mean, but what if it's something, what if you really, really like the person, but didn't like the habit, but this is something that you wanted them to stop, even though you met them like this, but it's something that's irritating, it just gets on your freaking nerves, and you want them to stop doing it and everything. And how can you manage that without being accused, or possibly, whether you know it or whether you don't know it, coming off controlling?
Even in that situation, You already know what the person do when you first met them. So the thing is, it's your choice. Do you want to deal with them and know that they smoke and want to help them through it? Not control them, but help them through it. Give them reasons of not to smoke and not be that forceful person like, oh, you shouldn't do this, you shouldn't do that. You know what they do already. So, okay, let's occupy their time so they don't have time to do that. Let's find something productive to do to get their minds off of smoking. That's a different way to do it. But if you with the person and you telling them, oh, you can't do that today, I don't want you doing this right now, that's control. Occupying their time in a productive manner is a whole different thing than trying to tell them to stop doing something because you don't like it. You knew what they did when you
had
first
that
got with them.
conversation sooner or later. I mean, and I could understand it if this is something like you do on your own. But one thing that kind of irritates me about the person I'm talking about is that she does it in the car around her 3-year-old. I think that is just like, so
But
wrong.
hear what you're saying. I think that's disrespectful as well. But hear what you're saying. She does it around her 3-year-old, not your 3-year-old. But you can't say, hey, give your child a chance to live. Won't you try to smoke without your child in the car? Make it a loving way of saying it. Say, hey, okay, I know you like to smoke, and that's fine. But your child don't need to be around that. So won't you do it away from your child? Give her a positive, productive manner to do what she want to do. Because let me tell you something. A person going to do what they want to do, whether you want them to do it or not. It's up to you if you're going to accept it. And then as a person in church, if you believe in God the way that you say you do, and you pray and ask God to help them through it, it's still going to take the manner of that person to want to stop. Because if that person don't want to stop, it's nothing you can say or do to get them to stop. It's still up to them.
Just to avoid people who behave like that, like I have been doing. And that's one reason how come I have not asked her out, even though me personally, I was dealing with somebody from my old church, and then, me and her stopped talking, but we're still friends. But I haven't been out on a date with anybody for 2 years. But I think to go out on a date with somebody now that I'm probably almost halfway scare me to death. But that's the reason why I have not asked her out, because of that. A nice person otherwise, but at my age, maybe years ago, I'll probably be able to halfway deal with it, but my age, certain things I just can't deal with anymore.
Hey, guys, I got a new call.
No.
Hold on, guys. Area code 331. Hey, call. 331.
Hey, Martin.
Hey, how are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, what's your comment?
I got a question.
Yes.
I'm listening. I hear y'all. I hear the topic tonight. What about? Can you hear me?
I hear you. Go ahead. I'm listening.
Can you hear me?
Yes. Go ahead.
I'm saying I got a question. Okay, I'm listening to the topic, but you saying about domestic. Can't that be not in a relationship? I'm talking about from your family.
Of course.
As a kid coming up from
did you
as
see
a
that
child.
video that I put up? It was
Yeah,
like,
I saw it.
okay,
I
yeah,
saw it.
it talked about it.
I heard it too.
Yeah, yeah, it don't have to be. It don't.
And
have
I
to,
just,
go ahead, sister. 68.
I can honestly say I was in a domestic violence situation even at home before I even started dating in my household. Even though, like I told Martin, I said, now I understand some of the things that my stepdad was doing when he was just hitting me for no reason, or because it was aggression from the situation he was dealing with. But domestic violence can happen in the household. Them calling you out your name. I literally used to lay down at night and hear him talk about me at night. Then now that verbal abuse or psychological abuse, or however abuse you want to call it, because I used to hear him calling me all types of names at night when he thinking I'm sleeping and I'm just laying there, because even at home I was uncomfortable all the way up until my mother just completely said, you need to go. and she basically chose him over me, and I was fine with that, even though, and also it affected me as I got older. But domestic violence happen at any time anybody commit physical abuse, psychological abuse, or mental abuse. Psychological be trying to manipulate you. Verbal abuse is calling you out your names, telling you what type of person you are when that's not the person that you are, like defaming you. Like, those are verbal abuse. Physical abuse is actually putting their hands on. That could happen at any age.
Yep, that's what I'm dealing with, and that's why I said, I always try to listen. I have to listen to hear, to identify with some things that I've been dealing with all my life as a child, and I was just saying it's still the same. If you ask me, that makes sense, but I never understood why people do that. Your own family. I'm talking about my own family now. Your own mother said some things to me, spoke,
Well, let me just say this. Not saying that I'm an expert. People, why you think people molest their own family members? Sometimes we try to get.
I believe that.
Yeah, and so people hurt people. Abusers abuse
Yeah,
people.
I heard that.
So we try to get in their mind what's going on in their mind. Everybody's an individual. They have their own choices to make. Some of us make dumb decisions. We say dumb things. We do dumb things. Not all of us now. See, I don't like to use that word. Ain't nobody perfect. I use it because that's like a cop out from doing wrong. Don't give no leeway for nobody doing wrong. Here you are. Well, you following your sister, or you following your little niece. That's wrong. Well, I didn't penetrate or whatever. You following her. You just as guilty. You're lusting after them. So a lot of us that have been abused, have become a victim of abuse, it come through the family. A form of domestic violence is, I just learned this other day from the Madam Clerk of Cook County. She said that if someone can verbally abuse you on the internet, that's domestic violence. Stalking you, cyber stalking, cyberbullying, that's for domestic violence. So it's a lot of new ways. It ain't just, also men are victims of domestic violence. It's not just a woman thing. I want you to get that out of your mind now. Because some men are victims of domestic violence. They're not the perpetrators of, some of them are victims of that. So we have to be
victims of, and I didn't mean to cut you off, and victims of when you was a kid, how your family did do that's what I'm dealing with. That thing right there. I asked God to reveal it, what's really going on. But I thought it was only, like domestic. No, that makes sense. That video you got up there.
Yeah, it's on my page. You need to go back and look at it. Yeah.
I can tell you like this. When I was younger in my mother's household, I used to get talked to by different people crazy, like called out my name. And my mother wound up giving me counseling I was 12? And when I went to counseling as 12, even then my stepfather said, I don't have the problem. She the one with the problem. But he was the cause of the problem. That was the thing. When sometimes people don't even know they are abusing you because they had been abused themselves when they was younger. Even now, because I have people that didn't even realize the effects they took on my life throughout my life that abused me, whether it was just mental, verbal, and physical abuse. Even one of my mom's friends, their kids didn't realize, and I don't know if they realized it or not, but as a kid, they were physically abusing me. But as kids, you don't really understand it because 9 times out of 10, it's probably getting done to you. So you think it's okay to do it to the next person. So they physically abusing me, and I'm not saying anything about it because during that time as a kid, everything I did, it seemed like I got in trouble for it. So I just wouldn't say anything about it. I just keep it to myself. That's why I say half of my life I've been abused because a lot of stuff I kept to myself because I didn't want to get nobody else in trouble, and I definitely didn't want to get in trouble because I got in trouble enough not even talking about the stuff that was actually happening to me. So just the verbal abuse that I was facing with people calling me out my name and that wasn't my name. I had a lot of that. Psychological abuse, calling me, telling me I'm this person and that person and you gonna be this person and that person when you get older. That's psychological abuse. I'll never forget. I was sitting outside and my family didn't even know I was outside. And I'm listening to them have a conversation about me because they thought I was fast because I wanted to hang with the boys. And they didn't even realize it wasn't that I was fast. And the reason why I hung with the boys is because the boys was my age in my family. All my cousins were boys in my family that was my age. And the reason why I hung with them is because I had lost a brother. And he was my sibling at the time. And I had missed him. So we had got so close that they became my brother. So I hung with them. I tried to do the things that they did because I looked at them as brothers because I missed my little brother, but nobody ever talked to me about the brother that I lost. So I never talked about that situation. And so I had this attachment issue when it came to the boys in my family that I became so attached to them. And then my family, the aunties and stuff used to say, oh, she fast, she this, she gonna get pregnant. Like, this is psychological abuse. You telling me I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that, but I'm not even thinking about that. Y'all don't even know what's going on in my brain because you haven't even took time out to even ask me, why do you hang with them? Why do you try to be with them? Then that's the problem. When people try to tell you the person that you are when they don't even take the time to ask you, who are you?
And that's what
That's the problem.
And I had to tell one of my family members, I had to tell them, you don't even know me. You don't know nothing about me. You know? And then the bad part, when I get grown, y'all do it in front of my kids. They witnessed this. And now, I have to try to help them to understand, they evil. They always did it. But I always ask God, what is the problem? What is this I'm dealing with, God? And he revealed it. He using you and Mark.
I'm sorry, but you can't solve the issue by telling your kids that they're evil. The way you solve the issue is saying they don't understand what's going on with them. They don't understand. So we have to be better. Right, and I learned that. When people are doing you wrong, you have to rise above that and let them know, hey, I don't like the way you talk to me. I don't like this. I don't like that. So because I don't like that, I'm going to separate, because this is what I'm learning now. I'm going to separate myself from you and keep it moving.
Yeah, but it's still the same thing. It's evil. It's the devil in them. It's the devil in them. It's for you to do another human being like that, and then your own child. Come on.
And the thing is, it's just us as Black people. We've always been the type of something to be so docile, that we always said and stuff, well, it's us who got to do better. What's that stupid crap that Michelle Obama said a few years ago? Whenever they go low, we supposed to go high, and all that stupid stuff that she said. And a whole lot of black people have the same kind of attitude instead of seeing exactly for how it is. I mean, no, it's not a case of them not knowing. No, because I think that everybody, whether you know it or not, I think everyone has a conscience. Your conscience is going to tell you right from not right, which is the Holy Spirit if you're religious. So
And
you know whenever
if
you're doing
you're
something
religious,
wrong.
you understand this too. If you're religious, you understand this too. Just because they go low doesn't mean you stoop lower than them. You do
You're
supposed
right.
to go higher. You do supposed
You
to think
do.
higher than them.
You
You
do.
do supposed to separate yourself from them. You do supposed to
Yes.
think better than what they're thinking. You're not supposed to never
Yes.
think on the level that they're thinking. If you know that the level that they're thinking is about negative things, leave that situation. I've learned that over my years. I've learned
I
that
have too.
leave that
You're right
situation
about
and
that.
rise above it. Never
I
go
have
below
too.
it. Never try to do hit for hit.
Oh,
It's
no.
not
I
about
have-
hit for hit no more in this world.
That's
It's
what-
about rise above it and pray for them while you rising above it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I have too, because I'm not.
You come and you now, he allowing me to speak up,
And I'm speaking up a whole lot more too, because I was bullied when I was much younger.
Guys,
So
Guys,
I
let me
think
say
I was
something.
suppressed.
Roosevelt, let me say something.
Yes, sir.
As a human being, you have a right to defend your name. You just
Oh, you
can't
got
let
that right.
people go
I
on
do
and
it.
say things, ungodly things, and you just be quiet, don't say nothing. No. You have a
Amen.
right
That's
to
what I'm talking about.
defend yourself when it comes to things that are not true. If somebody around here
Mhm.
calling a woman a 304 and she knows she's not that, she have a right to defend herself. We're not just gonna sit docile and just let people say and do anything to us. No, that's no, that's not gonna happen. And see, those people like that. That's bullying, and I'll do this to her. She ain't gonna say nothing anyway. I'll lie on her. She'll just brush it off. No. People, you have to protect your reputation. You have to protect your marriage. Anything that's left unprotected will be taken away. So I don't want you guys to sit here and to sit here and be loving on your enemies while they killing and stabbing you in the back. No. We're not gonna do that with that. We're not gonna do it.
That's all I'm asking.
We're gonna meet
And that's
fire
all I'm
with
saying.
fire. Period. We're
Yeah.
gonna be fire with fire because you have a right. Listen, most of us, if we meet fire with fire, we wouldn't get caught up in some of these relationships that we're in, where they mistreating us. See, I found out a long time ago, when you're in love with yourself, it's certain things that you're not gonna allow people to say or do to you.
Mhm.
I gotta say,
Mhm.
when you're in
That's
love
what I'm
with
talking
yourself,
about.
you're not gonna allow
Yeah.
certain people to say things to you and do things to you. Don't care who they are.
Mhm.
I don't care if they're paying your rent.
Yeah.
Hold on, sir. Hold on,
Mhm.
ma'am. All due respect. That's not me. You can't talk to me like that. I'm an adult.
Mhm.
So I'm telling you,
Yeah.
people, don't allow nobody to defame your name and you don't say that. You just sit back with your head down. I'm going to let the Lord handle it. Now, you can pray. It's never wrong. I believe in prayer. But I believe in prayer and doing something too. That's real talk.
Yeah.
So don't listen.
Yeah.
We got to call it out for what it is. Jesus went in that church and turned them tables. So he said, you have made my house should be called a house of prayer.
A
You
den
have
of
made it to the
thieves.
den of thieves. He told.
Thieves, yes. Mhm.
Now Jesus is the perfect
He
example.
turned that table over.
He called them scribes and Pharisees. He said, woe to you, scribes and Pharisees. He called them hypocrites.
Thieves. Yeah.
So you got to fight for your name. You got to stand up. You can't allow nobody bully you, especially an adult.
Mhm.
You have to fight, people. We're in a war, a spiritual warfare and in a natural war. We have to fight. So don't have that mentality to sweep by and by God gonna fix it all at the end. Yeah, he gonna fix it at the end. I'm gonna fix what I can fix right now.
This the mentality that black people were taught to have.
Yeah, but I don't
like I said, the stupid stuff Michelle Obama said.
Listen, I'm just saying that.
No, that's not what I was saying. What I was saying is, after you tell them how you feel, separate yourself. That don't mean stay around them and continue to be around it. Separate yourself. You already know what their mentality is, so why would you stay around it? Separate yourself. Get away from it.
Oh, but I'm far from it, but I'm just saying, you know, now they did it when I was little. See, I'm grown now. Okay, I know I ain't gotta allow them. Like you say, I can protect my kid, my children, and my niece. You're not gonna keep doing that to me. I'm not your float. I ain't your rug. I've been there.
Yeah.
I've been there.
If they still have access to you, you haven't separated.
I ain't gonna do evil for evil. You know, I ain't gonna do that. But I ain't gonna be around you. I know you ain't who you. I know who you is. But I was really the question was, it ain't just in no relationship with no man and woman. It's in, I know it's something about that family. You know, to be that harsh, do your I know I ain't gotta keep taking that stuff.
Well, let me say this, sister.
No,
Let me say this.
Mm-mm.
Some of us, most of us, grew up in the same house with our siblings. If you line us side by side, you're like, was they raised in the same home? So when we become adults, people, when we become adults, a lot of us choose a different route than where we was raised. Let me just say that. Let me say that. Now, the sister was right. Once they say these things about them, we need to move around. About us, we need to move around. But I tell you, make sure they're not true when they do say things about you now. Because some things may be true.
That's it.
About you. So you got to make sure that you live in a certain lifestyle that what they're saying is not true
there
about
you. Go.
Or it could have been you once upon a time ago. And you changed your life. So I'm all I'm saying is, people, let's we don't have to stay in these circles no more. Including if it's our mother, our father, if they down on us, we don't have to. We can just be nice and cordial, and we don't never have to go around them. Period. Unless we love abuse. I ain't in love with nobody here on this earth where I got to keep letting them keep and assault me. Period. Was that my daughter, my mama, my dad, whoever, sister, brother, don't make no difference. I ain't that much in love with you. Well, I'm gonna keep allowing you to insult me. I'm gonna sit there and just do that. No, I'm not. It's not gonna happen. I'm gonna move around, like the sister said. I'm gonna move around. We got a caller, people. I'm gonna take the last call. I think that's old timer. Hey, I think that's old timer. That you old timer? 4093.
Me? That's me. You know what it is.
Live, uncut, unedited.
Live, uncut, unedited.
Yes, sir.
So, well, I mean, thank you for the show tonight. And these things, man, they happen. I had a cousin growing up. She had a man that she was was with. He kept his face all smooth and he was, all that in the bag of chips, and he got into it with her. He knocked the tooth out. Man, I believe almost up until this day. This has been over 50-something years ago. Girl is still, really gotten over that man. She hear that name years. We always thought, well, y'all don't know him, but when that name Edward James says, she act like, man, it brought a smile to her face and stuff. So a lot of times, he knocked her front tooth out. And we thought, hey, that's it. She ain't gonna stay with him. She ain't gonna be with him and all that. He had another woman. She was still liking him. So, and we thought with my cousin, we was brought up pretty good and stuff. And know, but you never know what's going on. People like, because I've heard some older ladies say that, you know, every now and then you might have to comb a woman's head, stuff. You know, and then some of the women said, well, you know, when I get out of line, my old man, he go upside my head, you know, and stuff like that. So I've heard different people say, but a lot of men might be scared to really deal with a woman like that because I get them high grits thrown on him. Don't know what's gonna happen. But bottom line is that if a person finds out that you ain't got no integrity about yourself, will run up over you. Martin, you said something back a while ago. You was talking about the young men. You don't know how young men might be going through. You know, some of them have to look hard because some people be looking at them hard, so they might have to have a hard look about them and stuff. But man, you got to have some gumption about yourself. If a person going to abuse you, that could be your last day on this earth. You got to get away from that person. You can't stay there. So anytime a person smack you and they start pulling you by your arm and say, come back here, I ain't done talking to you. Say, well, wait a minute, don't pull on me like that. And the man, once he starts taking advantage of a lady, I mean, we saw it in that movie, Jack City. Wesley Snipes, that woman, man, talking about cancel it so-and-so out. Put some wine and poured all over her head and, you know, smacked her and all that kind of stuff. She just calmed down and stuff. Man, I mean, a lot of men basically abuse a lady. You really can't go with that. We don't know where it come from because they was brought up that way. Can't say that they saw it in their house. They can develop it. Some of their friends and stuff. You know, we develop a lot of things. We don't tell people what's going on in us. And but if you can get away with it, you have a tendency to do it again, but you just don't know where it's going to take you. Once it take you too far, you know, your life can be ruined and another person's life can be ruined. I say the best thing to do is to get up out of there. You let that man stay there and say, look, you have this apartment or whatever. I'm getting up out of here because you got to run for your life. I mean, that man, and especially if you're on whether you married or not, doesn't matter. He don't have no business his hands on you. No business. When you get to that point, you know, you got to go. I don't care what she did, you don't have no business putting your hand on that woman. To the point, not to no point at all. You that mad, go out there and slam the door and holler or whatever. If you start putting your hands on people, then man, you start saying, I own you. And the person own you, they can do whatever they want to do to you. I heard what the sister said, and sometimes people be scared. You got to get up out of there. You know, I don't care where you going, where you gonna go. You can't stay in that house. Once he put his hands on you, do it again. And that's just the way. That's the way it goes. Then he'll have you scared. I've known people had to have a certain code when the man called a house. When the phone rings 2 times, you know that's me. But if that phone ring more than 2 times, don't you answer that phone? All that kind of stuff, you know, different things. People have mind control over people. A lot of stuff that people go through: physical abuse, mental abuse, physical abuse. Neither one of them you're supposed to go through. If you get to that point, then you know it's time for y'all to separate. Don't use that old tone they got out there. Well, you know, let it go. If it come back, it's yours. If it don't, it never was. Not when it come down to beating. It come down to physical abuse. I don't care. I don't care if we're supposed to have been together. Don't use that. Well, you know, if it's yours, let it go. If it come back, it was yours. If it don't, it never was. Yeah, but in the meantime, you scared to go to work, all that kind of stuff, scared to get up in the morning. Oh man, life ain't supposed to be like that. That's something that a person developed. That's the way that they decide they're gonna live their life, and they're getting away with it. As long as they're getting away with it, they're gonna keep on doing it. But they just don't know. They just don't know when the empire gonna strike back. They don't know, but they figure, you know, what, she ain't gonna do nothing. No, she ain't gonna do nothing. And most men, I'm gonna say this, I'm gonna be done. Most men, when their daughters get married, A young man, when my daughter got married, he told me, he said, I said, man, so I said, you think about marrying my daughter, huh? He said, yeah. And he gonna ask her to marry. One of the things he told me, he promised me he would never hit her. That's what he told me. That's what he said. They've been married for almost 10 years now. And things seem to be going good, but I stay out of their business. I ask my daughter nothing about her marriage. No, but she knows she's free to come in and come to talk to me. He got a father and mother as well. But just stating situations get tight. Physical abuse is not the way to go. Not the way to go. You know, that's just too bad. I thank the sister for her testimony tonight. So that was a great thing to say, but sometimes it leads goes overboard. And you know, when you get to that point, we got to start assessing what type of person, what am I doing? Because you don't own nobody. You don't own nobody but yourself. You don't own my daughter, and I don't own you. You shouldn't let nobody you like no rag doll. But I'm enjoying it though. God bless.
Yeah.
Be the devil.
Thank you.
I have uncut unedited.
Yes, sir. And I agree with you. Not only just physical, verbal either. We don't let nobody talk to us any kind of way, and just sit there and just take that abuse. And you heard the sister earlier. She said that she wanted to take her life a couple of times. Now, what if she had been successful doing that? It got so terrible, she got to blame herself. And it can't be that. I'm telling you, people, we listen. A lot of us can get so overwhelmed with these problems in life, and we just want to end it all. We blame ourselves.
Yeah.
We have to get help. I'm not against the church getting spiritual help.
But you know what?
Go ahead, sister.
That came from buildup of years of abuse from the household to outside of the household. Like, I got to the point where I just felt unworthy. Like, I felt like, dang, my mama don't care about me. My daddy obviously don't care about me because he came into my life and left right back out. My family didn't care about me. Every person I be with obviously don't care about me because they think putting their hands on me is okay. It made me to the point that I felt like, okay, the only way I should be is dead. That's how I felt. I had got to that point. And what took me overboard when I actually tried, and I almost succeeded, and even a doctor told me, I don't even understand how you didn't kill yourself because your cut was directly over your vein, your main artery in your wrist. And he said, I don't even understand why it didn't happen because it's deep enough to hit it. And I felt like what took me overboard is after all of what I was going through, I went to my cousin's house and one of my aunties said, hey, take a picture of all the grandkids. And I started looking around like, I am one of the grandkids. What you mean, take a picture of the grandkids? And that hurt me. And then for me to go back home and then now I got to fight him for something stupid, I felt like, what's my purpose? Why am I here? But I thank God for him saving me. I thank God because he has brought me to a point where I've started loving myself because I didn't love myself. You can't love yourself if nobody ever loved you. You don't know what love is. So I got to a point where I began to love myself. And I can honestly say, I love myself and I don't want to leave this earth. And not only that, not only do I love myself, I love my kids now. I love my husband. So I don't want to leave this earth. I have a reason. Because the first reason was I started loving God, loving myself, loving my husband, and now my kids. I have reasons. And even if because my family is still the same, even when my family makes me feel like crap, I still have reasons behind everything. A lot of times it be because we go through this abuse because we never begin to love ourselves. We don't see the worth that we have. So we allow other people to abuse us because we don't see our own worth. I was never taught my worth. I never learned my worth in the household because everything I did was wrong. And no matter how, and I used to fight for my mother's love. Like I was the kid that was in the accelerated class. I was the kid that got the good grades. I went to school every day. Even when I wasn't feeling good, I was at school every day. I was that kid. But then I got to a point where, what's the point? What's the point? She still don't see me. My family don't even see me. Now I'm going outside of this and I'm going to guys. They don't see me. Nobody sees me. I'm anonymous to them.
Mm-hmm.
So I felt like, okay, the best way to go is just to leave. Because ain't nobody going to care. I don't even care. It took for me to start loving me, to understand
I
that
love
I'm worth more
being black.
to me than anybody else.
As I said earlier.
So, I mean, we all gonna have ups and downs. True enough that some people might feel being loved in the home. I would say, you know, how far that would drive us not to have self-esteem, different things. It shouldn't get to that point. It does happen. So some kind of way we got to find a bright window in there somewhere. So saying, you know, I love myself. And if you keeping your body clean, you keeping your face and stuff. So years ago when I was growing up, we supposedly cared about our face and stuff, putting Noxzema, different things on our faces to try to make, like we felt that we would work something, different things. But you know, there's a lot of self-help things that people have to continue to do for themselves, because some of these things may happen. We may not get the attention that we rightfully deserve. Not trying to get, rightfully deserve. Every person should be treated the same, you know, and the person that might need a little bit more help should get the assistance from the person that's closest to them each and every day. Shouldn't have to go outside the home to look for love, you know, because they got this thing looking for love all in all the wrong places. But any little thing that can hurt you can start to make a difference. It can start to turn the tide, you know. So I just say that as much as we know, we have to try to keep all those things together. But one thing about it is, if a person don't love themselves, and start a downward spiral, and it can start the person to going into despair. Hey, you know, they might feel that, you know, I need somebody to beat on me, different things and stuff like that. We have to hear from the person, because and if a man don't know how to treat a lady, and, you know, people are still using that stuff nowadays somehow, where they still got chivalry. But most brothers don't use the word chivalry. We find out, we just say, man, don't you open the door for your lady? Don't you hold the door open for your lady? Don't you help your lady up the curb? And, you know, these things are still supposed to be running strong side of a man. But if it don't, man, you know how many times you go to the restaurant and you see people walking to the car, man go to one side, lady go to the other side, instead of the man taking just 3 extra seconds, go over to the door, open the door for his wife, significant other, then he go over to his side. Some go to split different sides. People see that. See, as long as these things are happening, that leaves a little crack in there for anything to come up. But it's got to be a full view that people got to develop good ways, and they got to keep it, because somebody said, he opened the door for her. So, I mean, people see it. And people love see good things. But if it get to the point, I ain't worried about no man opening no door for me. I'll open the door for myself. Well, I mean, and a lot of times, too, women like to say, and like to see women cursing. They love to see women cursing because that's the way they feel they're gonna treat them. They'll take a woman that curse and stuff and say, oh, see, I can treat her any kind of way I want to. But she curse and all that kind of stuff. Do that.
You understand?
Sure.
But you got to also think it all starts in the household. If this is the type of things that's going on in the household, this is what you adapt to, so you don't know how to be that person. Because I'm not speaking for nobody. I'm speaking for myself. It starts from in the household, because even in my household, I was never shown love. It took for me to understand understand love on my own to know what love is. If you're not treating your kid like nowadays, these kids don't know what love is because parents think that you buy these material things, that's love. It's not love. You have to really show these kids love. And nowadays, kids don't know what love is. So that's why the world is getting worse and worse and worse because no one even understands what love is. It starts in the household.
But Mark, didn't I tell you that when I was trying to share, you know, how I felt and what I had to go through to learn what I know today. That's why I can't say, thank you, Lord, I got peace. I'm content. I love me, God and myself, you know, and then my kids and then others. You see what I'm saying? Because I didn't have no love. I was looking for love from my family. Just my family. But it's okay today. But I know it's going to come a time where I got to speak up like I had to do today. No, enough is enough. I'm not your doormat. I'm not none of that. None of that. And that's why I have to isolate myself, sister. I love everybody. I can get along with anybody. But if you disrespect me, if you do any of that I don't like, I got to go.
Tell the truth. And shame the devil.
Enough is enough, you know. And that's what's wrong with our kids. Kids don't get no love.
Well, let me just say this. I'm going to end it off with this. Don't expect anybody to love you when they don't love themselves.
There you go.
Period. Period. And I'm going to leave it out on that note. Good night, people. You already know what it is.
Good night.
Live, uncut, unedited. Tell the truth and shame the devil. I love being black. Tell the truth and shame the devil. I love being black.
Hey, man, way to close out Black History, man.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.